I watched Aftersun so you wouldn't have to, except yesterday's episode was all right. It was probably the only good episode of Aftersun this whole season. Don't worry, I'll still save you the watch. I'll let you know what happened. I have a lot of notes, so I'm gonna try to make this one video, but we'll see. We'll see, honey. Anyway, starting from the top. Well, first thing I was gonna say is I never thought I'd say I miss Mara Higgins, but I do, because Sophie Monk ain't it for me. She just isn't. But luckily, this was Sophie Monk's last episode of Aftersun, and the regular host, Mara Higgins, will be back next week for the final episode. As usual, the first 14 or 15 minutes of the episode is Callum, Sally, and Sophie, and then a guest talking about what happened this week. So on last night's episode, Deb from season 4 of Love Island USA was there. She's also from Love Island Games. And fun fact for those of you who don't know, Deb and Callum were actually a couple on Love Island Games, so they're like low-key exes or whatever. Sophie asked the panel what their favorite moment of the week was, and Sully said when Amaya and Brian kissed. Sully said that she actually cried, which, okay, Sully. Callum said his highlight of the week was when Taylor stood on business in regards to the Olandria and Clark situation, which doesn't surprise me because Callum is always behind a toxic man, so not surprised. And it was kind of funny because a couple times throughout the episode, they cut to Deb whenever Callum said something, and Deb's face was just like... Deb said her highlight of the week was Brian standing up for Amaya, which I know a lot of us liked. On to the Hearts on Fire challenge, which is also the heart rate challenge. Deb said she thought that Huda did too much. Sally low-key looked hesitant to say anything at all, but she did end up saying that if she could move like Huda, she would too, which, you know, a lot of us would agree with. Then on to the mail challenge / stand on business challenge. Sally said that she was glad that Olandria got everything off her chest because we really weren't seeing the true Olandria this whole time. You know, we've kind of seen like a real prim and proper version of Olandria this entire season, which I get. I don't know, I'm just hesitant to say that we saw the true Olandria, because what we saw was Olandria upset about someone who was leading her on the whole time. You know, I know there's more to Olandria than going off on a guy and then, you know, her prim and proper side. So, I don't know. I don't know if I like the statement of her saying that we finally saw the true Olandria. But I get what she was saying. So I'm not trying to make a huge deal of it. But still, that kind of stuck in my mind. Like, you know, whenever... You know what I mean. So Sally and Deb said that they feel like Taylor could have been honest sooner, like maybe not waited for that challenge to actually be honest with Olandria, as a lot of us were saying, because high-key, Taylor has led Olandria on this entire season and continued to do so when Clark came up until that stand on business challenge. Then Sally said that she felt like Olandria was low-key disrespectful to Clark, which I thought was weird. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that she didn't like that she put Huda on Front Street with that kiss, which I get that too, but whatever. Like Sophie said, sometimes when you're in those situations and you're like really emotional, sometimes you say things that you regret. Then we got an unseen clip of Nick reading postcards, and all the postcards said something about him urinating on the toilet seat. Like, there was a reason it wasn't included in the show. It was dumb. It was really dumb. On to the Burst Your Bubble challenge. Deb, Callum, and Sally said those poll results really do mess with your mind as Islanders. Callum said it can make you doubt everything, and it can also be off-putting, you know, if your partner is having those like negative results. So for example, someone like Taylor, who's consistently in the bottom for every single poll question, something like that can make you like second guess them as a person. Moving on, Deb said she wants Amaya and Brian to win and for Amaya to keep the money, which I know we've seen a lot of that on the internet. Okay, so now Ariana came around. She said she had sent them home in the wee hours of the morning. So I wrote that down because I think a lot of times we forget that these Islanders are up at all times of the night and waking up early in the morning, and that really affects them. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Like, that stuff really affects you and the way that you see things and the way that you function. So I think we, a lot of times need to give people more grace when they are on Love Island or when they're on a show like this, because it's really a shock to your system. Ariana said the Stand on Business challenge was a needed challenge. I have to disagree with that because I thought it was just making a messy situation worse. Like, it was almost like it gave bullying. I'm sorry, but it gave bullying on behalf of Love Island and the producers. Like, I just find it so weird how they can tell us, you know, to stop bullying people online, which you know, not me, but y'all should stop bullying people online. Like, it's ridiculous, especially over a darn show. But I just think it's funny how they get to say that to us, but then they get to make these situations, create these situations that get people all completely riled up. It's honestly really hypocritical, and you know, whether they recognize that or not, it is hypocritical. And I think it's hypocritical for Ariana to sit there and say that the challenge was needed. Like, the time that we're living in right now, and the ways in which people are responding to TV shows is really intense. It's a lot. So I think these networks really need to take accountability for the situations that they start, for the anger that they cause with their editing and with the challenges that they create. It's literally throwing a stone and hiding your hand. That's what Love Island gives to me, especially this season. Throwing stones and hiding their hands. Come back for part 2.